investigation into Hillary Clinton that Comey overstepped his role in his scathing review of Clinton. But many on Capitol Hill asking, is the White House really concerned about Clinton, or is this about Russia? Also tonight, Vladimir Putin and his reaction, and the news that James Comey had just asked for more money for the FBI investigation into Russian meddling. Also tonight, the officer on trial. She opened fire on the driver of this SUV, who at one point had his hands in the air. What we learned today. And the alleged school plot. Police flooding the school. A boy pulled from the classroom. His arsenal, knives, gasoline, and a hit list right in his bag.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening on this Wednesday night, and we begin tonight with new reporting here after that major shakeup in Washington. The director of the FBI, James Comey, fired. Learning of it on television, he thought it was a prank. The president's termination letter then read to him on the phone. But tonight here, major questions. Why fire Comey and why now? The White House saying the Department of Justice, in particular, the Deputy Attorney General, recommending Comey's departure. But tonight, our team has learned it was the president himself who set this in motion. Comey at home tonight, as we learn what President Trump said to the Attorney General and to the Deputy Attorney General during their visit to the White House, what he asked them for, and now the timeline here leading to Comey's firing. And late word tonight as we come on the air, President Trump's fired National Security Advisor Mike Flynn has now been subpoenaed for documents regarding Russia. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl leading us off.
Less than 24 hours after the firing of James Comey, the man leading the investigation into Russian meddling, President Trump welcomed Russia's ambassador and foreign minister to the White House. The Russians releasing these pictures of the men laughing together in the Oval Office. Later, the president was asked, why fire Comey?
Why did you fire Director Comey? Why did you fire Director Comey?
Because he wasn't doing a good job, very simply. He was not doing a good job.
The big question tonight, why now? The White House initially said the president lost confidence in Comey just yesterday after receiving this memo from Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Rosenstein blasted Comey's handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation, singling out the July news conference where the director declared that he would not prosecute Clinton, but then went on to criticize her at length. Rosenstein implied Clinton had been treated unfairly, saying, quote, "We do not hold press conferences to release derogatory information about the subject of a declined criminal investigation." Rosenstein's memo was delivered to the White House shortly before 2:30 p.m. yesterday. Less than 3 hours later, the president sent this letter to FBI headquarters telling Comey, "You are hereby terminated and removed from office effective immediately." He made a point of adding this, "I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I'm not under investigation." But when the letter arrived, Comey wasn't at the FBI. He was in Los Angeles giving a speech. On a television, he saw a headline that he had been fired. At first, he thought it was a prank, but then he got on the phone with his office and an aide read the president's letter. Later that night, cameras caught him boarding a government plane for the long flight home. Meantime, on television, White House aides said Russia had nothing to do with it, even implying there was nothing left to investigate anyway.
When are they going to let that go? It's been going on for nearly a year. Frankly, it's kind of getting absurd.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer insisted the president fired Comey solely because of the recommendation of Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein and the Justice Department.
So the White House had no involvement in this decision to write this letter by the Deputy Attorney General?
That's correct. But that was not correct. In fact, today we learned that the president had specifically asked the Deputy Attorney General to write the Comey memo. Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, filling in for Spicer, said the president had in fact been thinking of firing Comey for a long time.
The president, over the last several months, lost confidence in Director Comey.
White House sources tell us the president was particularly infuriated by Comey's testimony in front of Congress last week.
It makes me mildly nauseous to think that we might have had some impact on the election.
ABC News has learned that early Monday afternoon, the president met with the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General at the White House and told them he thought he should fire Comey, asked for their opinion, and then told them to put it in writing.
When did he make the decision?
He made the decision for the final decision to move forward with it was yesterday, but I know that he's been contemplating it for a while.
Was the reason for the firing
what was written by the Deputy Attorney General? Is that why he did it?
That was, I think, the final piece that moved the president to make that quick and decisive action yesterday.
All right, so let's go live to John Carl at the White House tonight. And John, the White House insisting today that Comey was fired primarily over his mishandling of the Clinton investigation, treating her unfairly. But John, I want to go back to the president's termination letter to Director Comey. You and I talked about this last night here. The president writing, "I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation." That's what the president wrote to Comey in the termination letter. What do we know about those 3 separate occasions, and why even bring that up?
Well, I asked about that directly at the briefing today, and other reporters did as well. The White House will give no further details about why Comey said that, when he said that. Was it something the president asked about it? We just don't know, David.
In the meantime, John, there is news breaking as we're on the air tonight involving Mike Flynn, the fired national security advisor. We've just been informed tonight that he has now been subpoenaed for documents regarding the Russia probe. This is a significant development.
Yeah, these are documents that the committee asked Flynn to voluntarily turn over weeks ago. Flynn refused, so now they are trying to compel him to turn those documents over. David, what this is this an indication is that Russia investigation by the Senate Intelligence Committee is very much underway.
All right, John Carl, on the fast-moving developments tonight. John, thank you. We turn to Capitol Hill next, where Democrats and Republicans are outraged at the timing of all this, that the FBI director leading the Russia investigation has now been fired right in the middle of it. ABC's Mary Bruce on Capitol Hill tonight asking senators today, is this about Hillary Clinton's emails or is this about Russia?
Tonight, even the Republican leading the Senate's Russia investigation caught off guard and scratching his head.
The timing and the reasons for this decision made little sense to me.
Other Republicans are also feeling frustrated and confused by the president's decision.
The White House's timing here was less than impeccable.
Obviously, when you have the president fire the FBI director and there's an active investigation going on, then there are questions that need to be answered.
But Democrats tonight say they know why.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what this is about.
They say it all comes down to Russia.
Why do you think the president chose to fire Comey?
I think it's all about Russia. It's not about Hillary. It's about the fact that James Comey has an investigation going into Trump's connection and his campaign's connection to Russia.
And tonight, they're pointing to the president's own letter firing the FBI director. That line where Trump says he's grateful Comey told him he wasn't under investigation.
He inserts this thing like a bad poker player whose facial expression tells you what kind of hand they have.
The White House insists the FBI director was fired because of how he handled the Clinton investigation. And Democrats have blasted Comey for the same thing.
And I think it is kind of crocodile tears now for the Democrats.
Are you being hypocritical?
I expressed criticism about the statements that he made 10 months ago, but that is no reason to fire him now.
Democrats are now insisting that a special prosecutor take over the Russia investigation, even postponing all Senate hearings today to make a point.
If there was ever a time when circumstances warranted a special prosecutor, it is right now.
At least one Republican now seems open to the idea.
Would you support a special prosecutor?
I'm looking at that seriously.
But Republican leaders aren't budging.
Today we'll no doubt hear calls for a new investigation, which could only serve to impede the current work being done.
Mary Bruce with us live from Capitol Hill tonight. And Mary, Democrats really for months now have been critical about the handling of the Clinton email investigation. Hillary Clinton just last week saying she would be president if Comey hadn't announced 11 days before the election he was reigniting the email investigation. The White House tonight says Democrats really should be happy about the firing of Comey. What are Democrats telling you about picking a new FBI director?
David, some Democrats say they will oppose the next FBI director unless that special prosecutor is appointed. But beyond threatening, there's little Democrats can actually do. Confirmation requires just a simple majority, which Republicans have. David.
Mary Bruce live on the Hill. Thanks as always, Mary. And as we heard at the top tonight, Attorney General Jeff Sessions was at the White House on Monday when all of this began rolling. President Trump reportedly telling him that he thought he should fire Comey and then asking them to put their opinion in writing. But this could raise questions about the Attorney General. You'll remember he recused himself From the FBI investigation into Russia, after failing to disclose a meeting with this man, the Russian ambassador not revealing it during his confirmation. Sessions also recused himself from involving Hillary Clinton after what he said about her on the campaign trail. So first tonight, his recusal on Russia.
And my staff recommended recusal. They said that since I had involvement with the campaign, I should not be involved in any campaign investigation.
And here was his recusal on issues involving Hillary Clinton.
I believe the proper thing for me to do would be to recuse myself from any questions involving those kind of investigations that involve Secretary Clinton and that were raised during the campaign.
All right, so let's bring in our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight, because, Pierre, a lot of questions in the last 24 hours about recusal and why Jeff Sessions was at the White House when they were discussing whether to fire James Comey, who was leading the Russia investigation.
David, you're right. Sessions was at that critical meeting, and he did participate, despite the fact that he had recused himself from the investigation of the 2016 campaign. That's raising big questions with Democrats that won't go away soon. Sources say Sessions took part because he believes that the FBI director's job is much bigger than just one case. I'm told by sources that the president said at the top of the meeting he was leaning toward firing Comey. Sessions and the Deputy Attorney General expressed their concerns about Comey being too much of a maverick, and that everyone left that meeting on Monday with the idea that Comey was going to be fired, David.
All right, Pierre Thomas with us live as well. Pierre, thank you. So bottom line tonight, where does the FBI's investigation into Russian meddling and any possible collusion with members of the Trump campaign team stand? How far along was James Comey? Tonight, what we've learned here and how Vladimir Putin is now reacting to all of this. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross.
The Russians were having a good laugh today about the firing of the FBI director. President Vladimir Putin, in full hockey gear with his press secretary next to him, told CBS he was more interested in getting out on the ice and scoring some goals.
We have nothing to do with that.
But for the FBI, there's nothing funny about the investigation, now at a critical juncture after almost a year. Officials tell ABC News a federal grand jury is already impaneled, and the White House today was asked about reports subpoenas have been issued for documents connected to former National Security Advisor General Mike Flynn.
Was the White House aware at the time of this decision and announcement that grand jury subpoenas in the case of Michael Flynn had just gone out? No, nor would we, should we have been.
And adding to the White House concerns this week are new indications the investigation may have expanded to include Trump's business and personal finances, based on how the former Director of National Intelligence cryptically answered this question.
General Clapper, during your investigation of all things Russia, did you ever find a situation where a Trump business interest in Russia gave you concern?
Senator Graham, I can't comment on that because that impacts investigation.
Officials tell ABC News FBI agents are increasingly focused on General Flynn, on Trump's former campaign manager Paul Manafort, longtime Trump friend Roger Stone, and his former foreign policy advisor Carter Page. All have denied any wrongdoing, including Page, who told me recently the allegations are false.
It's ridiculous. So.
What's ridiculous about it?
Everything. You know, it's just making something out of nothing. So good to see you.
Today, Page was among those full of praise for the firing of the FBI director, encouraged, he said, that the investigation may soon come to an end.
And Brian Ross with us as well tonight. And Brian, there was new reporting here today that James Comey had actually just asked for more money, more resources days before he was fired.
Yes, David, the Justice Department is denying that, but tonight U.S. officials, including Democratic Senator Richard Durbin, tell ABC News that's exactly what happened, that Comey wanted more agents and more resources to investigate whether the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians, David.
Brian Ross and our team tonight, we thank you all. We do move on to other news now, and next this evening, the concern after that scare at a nuclear site in the West. Tonight, our correspondent asking, were there warning signs missed? ABC senior national correspondent Matt Gutman on the scene.
Tonight, heavy equipment stuffing that radioactive hole with hundreds of tons of dirt, all meant to prevent radioactive particles from spreading.
I am extremely concerned about what happened yesterday and how the Department of Energy can give us confidence that this will not happen again.
It's something the Department of Energy can't do. after learning the tunnel was built solely of timber instead of concrete and steel, as it originally said.
Whether it's the radiation or the moisture, heavy snowfalls that we had this winter, we just don't know exactly what could be causing it, or a combination of those.
What's more, a 2015 study commissioned by the Department of Energy itself warned of a collapse at the site, but nothing was done.
So is that what happened here, that maybe you took your eye off of this particular tunnel because you were looking at so many other projects?
Got a lot of different projects that we have to look at.
In retrospect, was that a mistake?
No.
And perhaps what's most disturbing, David, is that there are hundreds of feet more of this wooden tunnel that could be rotting away, and officials admit they still don't have a plan to prevent future collapses. David.
Matt Gutman for us again tonight. Thank you, Matt. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. The alleged school plot, police flooding the school, a boy pulled from the classroom. His arsenal, knives, gasoline, a hit list discovered in the bag. The warning that tipped off police. Also, we're learning more tonight.